Hello guys, I hope you're all doing well today. Coming at you with the next excerpt of my first novel in a series, Black and White Odyssey of Eden, so let's have at this. He turned to face his end. This was truly his last gasp. Of this he was fully aware. He had faced it so many times before, the pale green sphere cracking, shattering above them, his body totally broken. Out of sheer strength of will and resolve, he ran forward, toppling forward on his stomach, towards the edifice. Wheezing as he breathed violently in an attempt to rebuild any strength he could, he hollered, "Why won't you break?" The scientist's mind spun out of control with the emotions he knew he could no longer show, with the reality that he would return to. He knew things he could never tell, to anyone but Thomas, Matthew, Jessica, Dimitri. His terror at this reality, his uncontrollable anger at it, his sorrow, made him rampage. He could hardly press his body any more, any further, and he would die. But he knew that would happen anyway. Hundreds of thousands of years, and his sanity was slowly slipping away. As the dust ate away at the scientist's body, his breathing became mad gasps, his eyes frenzied, his muscles convulsing. He knew the pain of his body dissolving. It was familiar. But that was not this pain, not the pain causing every muscle in his body to contract. This was visceral, cerebral turbulence on an unprecedented scale. "You will die, you bastards." Words he managed to choke through the gasps. A door opened atop the ship. He saw a missile, several stories tall, launch from the edifice toward an undamaged building roughly 10 miles away from the scene. A blinding flash shone in the distance, annihilating the last undamaged structure before him as his eyes faded to darkness. Chapter 9. Spiritual Tumult. The room was in unmitigated tumult, as the scientist writhed in anger, eyes darting from one end to the other, piercing frantically through the skulls of the other elders. He was hollering, screaming, shouting at the others. "Send me back! Send me back now!" Jessica, who had always been the most stalwart of them all, sat with her eyes staring straight at the scientist. Her neck and eyes began to twitch as she spoke in a calm, though charismatic tone through the uproar of the others' dissent. She fought back convulsions in a naive attempt to hide the slippage of her mind. Thomas and Dimitri were arguing with one another vehemently. Dimitri said frantically with his arms crossed as he caressed his chin, "We can't change anything. Nothing will change. We can't save them. I told you, this must stop." "Why don't you try it, you little bastard?" Matthew said as his usually steady voice quivered in uncertainty. "What the hell did you just call me, you son of a bitch? Do I see you doing it? Do I see you crucifying yourself over and over?" Dimitri's speech broke into a thicker and thicker Russian accent as the words were spit from his mouth. Matthew then launched his portly frame at Dimitri, screaming in anger. Thomas desperately tried to restrain him before any more damage could be done. Jessica stood, watching the three of them wrestle with one another. "Stop!" she said loud enough for all of them to hear. They all turned toward her as they panted in exhaustion. Her normally glowing face frowned at all of them. Still in one another's grasps, they looked in the direction she was pointing. She was pointing at the scientist, strapped in his restraints, every muscle in his body contorting in an effort to escape them. The straps along his appendages were beginning to tear free of their anchors on the chair. The scientist was screaming out, "I couldn't stop it. I couldn't stop it," over and over in mad sobs. Where are you, you fucking God? And that's where I'll leave it. And I'll come back at you with the next section later. Love y'all. Peace.